we can send a copy of this recording, and then we can also pass this to you guys so you can refer to later, if you please. I'm also going to share my screen. So let me know if you guys can see my screen. All right, perfect. So Thomas, I'll let you in charge. I'll leave you in charge of the letting everyone in, even though I can hear every time someone's joining. But no, thank you all for joining us. Like I said, 5:33 on a Tuesday, the 16th of December. It's really a nice feeling that you're going to spend this with us, but we'll keep this quite concise with a goal to try and keep it, done way before 6:30, hopefully 45 minutes, with a bit of time for Q&A, and I'll go through things quite fast. But tonight, this is an information session for Holberton School Australia. So there's a few different programs that we run within Holberton School. What we're looking at today is the curriculum, and actually what you'd be learning in Holberton School throughout the day today. So anything outside of the curriculum, that won't be touched on today. This is really about the tech side of Holberton School and what you're going to start with and what you're going to finish with. So the next cohort is starting on February 2nd, which is what you guys are all applying for. And then, yep, we're going to kickstart this information session. So Holberton School, I touched on it just before. Holberton is a global network of software engineering schools. Founded in the Silicon Valley in 2016 by a couple of French guys. It's now expanded to over 30 campuses in over 25 countries in Europe, South America, the Middle East, Africa, and obviously here in Asia Pacific in Australia. There's actually 5,000 graduates worldwide working at some of those big companies. Some of the local companies that our students are working at are Canva, AWS, NAB, all these big tech companies, REA Group, Sportsbet, etc. We launched Holberton here in Australia in 2022 as one alternative pathway to a career in tech. And this is what we're going to touch on here, is why we launched Holberton. So you can see this Canva office is here. This is me doing some podcasts at the Canva office. I have a little podcast that I do on the side. But why Holberton here in Australia? So tech jobs. Tech jobs are the best jobs. They're well paid, high flexibility, infinite growth, every industry, awesome office, like I said, Canva there, employee benefits, work from anywhere. And the most important one is it sounds cool at barbecues saying you work in tech. But tech jobs are hard to access, especially for people looking to make a career change. 3 years of lectures at unis, it's too long for someone that's making a career pivot. $35,000 to $50,000 in HECS debt, that is a big commitment in yourself to make again if you've already done that once. And a 3-month boot camp, 3 months is just not deep enough to kickstart your career in a fully new domain. So we wanted to fix this. So we're providing an education option that is practical and career focused that gets you job ready without the fluff. So basically from day one at Holberton, you will be coding. There's no theoretical components to that. You'll be getting your hands dirty from day one. So we started Holberton School in Australia for career changes that wanted to break into tech. You don't need any experience getting into Holberton. You learn the foundations of software engineering from scratch. Many of our students that start Holberton have never written a line of code before. We've got teachers, we've got nurses, we've got accountants that come from completely non-technical backgrounds. What we have before you can start Holberton, and we'll touch on this towards the end of this presentation, is the admissions process. And for many people, this is the first time they're actually coding. And so many of our students go from no coding at all to getting a full stack engineering job at these big corporates in Australia. The second one that we're looking at is learning by doing. And because we're dealing with adults, and I'm sure many of you can see that there's plenty of adults on this call, you learn by doing, and that's the best way that we can see adults are learning, because the theoretical approach of university is not working in that short-term career change, because you've already got that foundational knowledge, you know how to work. You don't need to be taught how to work. You just need to be taught the technical foundations for you to kind of come into this career and use all the transferable knowledge and the transferable skills you've got from your previous careers. So the whole idea of Holberton is learning by doing and learning on weekly projects. So there's no lectures, there's no exams. The goal is to collaborate with your peers and work on those projects together. And those projects are delivered on a weekly basis. So every Monday, you get projects, and those projects are due on Sunday. And then next week, you get a whole bunch of new projects. And you and your cohort are working on those projects for that whole week. Coming back to that point is about collaborating. It's a cohort-based model where you and your cohort are working together. And the idea of that is as you lift, you bring everyone up with you. the goal is everyone has that same mission. And I talk to a lot of our students, and the tech is one thing. It's important to understand the tech skills and learn tech, but one of the big values of Holberton is actually connecting with like-minded people. It's very difficult to meet people that have that same mission as you and coming from a similar background. So collaborating with your cohort is actually going to be the most valuable part of your experience, because you can leave an experience like this and suddenly you've got 25 friends that are all engineers working at various different companies, and that's how you guys are going to propel for the rest of your career. We're going to be talking to our SWE Thomas soon, but you'll have access to our SWE throughout your experience. He's obviously an engineer that's going to be helping you throughout this program with your technical questions, so you're not fully in this alone. He's actually dedicated to the cohort all the time, so he's full-time on this, which means you're able to access him at any point. We use the technology tools like Slack and Miro, where Thomas will be helping you guys to collaborate. It's a 9-month program, full-time. It's hybrid from Melbourne. We have a campus in the CBD, just on the corner of Collins and William Street. It's open all the time. Feel free to join us every day if you wish. We do ask at least our students come in 1 day a week because of that hybrid learning, and that is really the way that many corporates are going back to. It's bringing people back into the office because it's important to see people and get a feel for who people are that you're working with. But we do also work online Australia-wide for those people that aren't in Melbourne. We've had 13 cohorts now, so we've got a bit of traction and we've got a bit of proof that we can build off, and that's allowed us to have some credibility in the industry, which you can see we've started over 100 tech careers. Over 90% of the people that have done our program have been employed in tech at some of these companies there, plus many more, which is something we're super proud of. If anyone does have questions throughout this, feel free to drop it in the chat and we can come to them at the end, but we will do a Q&A at the end. All right, so this slide is just kind of showing that big ecosystem that we've got. Holberton itself, we do try and take a family-orientated vibe because we're quite a small school, which means we can be quite hands-on with all of our students in the program. But we're a small school and we're making big impact. So you can see here, we've had a front page on the AFR. We've had many quotes from many CTOs at a group level. We've had case studies done by global technology analysts. You can see the ecosystem on the right there. You can see all these logos. We have hiring partners, we have mentoring partners, we have scholarship partners, and we have some big policymakers that are helping us kind of spread the word of what we're doing. And some of you may have heard of the Compact Initiative, which is an initiative that is pushed forward by the New South Wales government, which is empowering organisations to hire 20% of their digital teams from alternative pathways. And Holberton School is an alternative pathway to a career in tech. This Compact Initiative is going national from the start of 2026. So all organisations are going to be incentivized to hire alternative pathway talent, which is exactly what you guys are. So you're coming into this at the right time. The government is behind this because the tech skills gap exists. The tech skills gap cannot be fixed by university because the universities cannot move fast enough. So they have to tap into this alternative pathway of education and this alternative pathway of talent, which is career changes, which I'm sure many of you guys are. Everyone that comes through Holberton gets an industry mentor. This is where we kind of see is something that is quite valuable, because education is one thing, but we want to bridge the gap between education and industry. And we want to be able for you to bring all the learnings that you've had through our program, talk to someone from the industry so they can explain to you how this relates to actually what they're doing in their job. And then they can reiterate to you, okay, this may not make much sense to you now, but in the big scheme of things, this is going to teach you how to learn. This is going to teach you how to build things going forward. And the first sprint at Holberton is C coding, and Thomas is going to touch on this shortly. But so many of our students are pulling their hair out when they're doing C coding, and they're like, why? I'm never going to do C in the industry. But then our students talk to their mentors, and our mentors are all saying, I wish I had done C, because this allows you to learn what's going on underneath the hood, which builds that coding mindset, which therefore allows you to have that ideology to continuously learn and understand what's actually going on beneath the bonnet. So that's just one example of the value of mentors. The other one of mentors is they become your biggest advocate. So you can see the photo on the right here. This is Sri and Nicole. Nicole was one of our students. She was a registered nurse that lived in Newcastle. She's actually relocated to Melbourne. Her mentor was Shri. Shri works at PEXA. She's a senior engineer at PEXA. Nicole came in her own rights. She had no scholarship. She's funded herself to do the Holberton program. Nicole went through. Her mentor was allocated Shri. They became good friends throughout this program because career switches, you're not so far in age of life. You are just far in age of experience in tech. So you end up finding people that actually are quite similar to you as far as life experience. It's just the technical experience is the gap. So anyway, they became friends. And as Nicole finished the program, Shri was her biggest advocate. And Shri went to the board of PEXA and Shri was like, you have to hire Nicole. She is so bloody good. Next thing you know, Nicole's working at PEXA. So whilst they help you bridge that gap between education and industry, they also become your biggest advocate for actually being employed. Whether it's at their company that they're working at, or if they can introduce you to someone else, there's also that non-technical component to that mentor that allows you to kind of tap into that industry. So you can see these logos here for some of the companies we have mentors from. Honestly, we can pretty much get mentors from anywhere because the tech ecosystem is so willing to give back. We've had people in the past, I think someone actually asked for a mentor from Mercedes-Benz, and we can reach out to Mercedes-Benz and suddenly we've got someone from tech at Mercedes-Benz. So it's very easy to kind of tap into this tech ecosystem, ask for support because everyone is willing to give back. And when you do ask, you do see that people are willing to help, especially in tech, because everyone's gone through the same process that you guys are. To go with that, we have a career coach because the technical skills that you guys are learning, obviously very important because you're not going to get a job without the technical skills, but it's very competitive out there. So we want to help you with the non-technical skills that you guys are building throughout the program. So we have our own career coach. Her name is Julie. She's got 30 years experience. She used to run the MBA program at Melbourne University. And throughout the program, you will sit down with Julie and you'll be working on your mock interviews. You'll be working on your strengths and weaknesses assessments. Julie will help you with your resume and your cover letter and walk through some common behavioral interview questions. Basically, what we have with Julie here is when you guys have an interview, you hit us up, you'll be like, hey guys, I have an interview. And then the next day we will set you up on a call with Julie to make sure that you are fully prepared for that interview from a behavioral perspective. Obviously, it's up to you to pass the technical components, and we're empowering you to do that through the school. But from a behavioral side, Julie is fantastic and she'll fill you up with confidence and give you all the tools you need to succeed from this side of the interview. All right, so this is the kind of the high level of Holberton and the non-technical side of Holberton. But the tech side of it is obviously very relevant because this is what's going to help you guys break into the industry and understand actually what you'll be learning throughout the program. So Thomas, I'll pass over to you to talk about the curriculum, but there's just a line up here about why employers love Holberton. It's because graduates enter the workforce job ready with the foundations down pat. And one type of thing that I hear people say to me when we're talking about Holberton is sometimes universities teach you how to learn. What Holberton is doing is teaching you how to work. We're not incentivized at all for you to go ahead and do a master's degree after this. We want you to get a job after this. So that's what we're setting you up for. But Thomas, talk us through the 3 sprints we have here and what's involved with each sprint.
Of course. So when we start the first sprint, we start off easy by just making sure everything has the same setup and figuring out how the shell and the GitHub works so that you can actually execute your code and work within a group. And then we start deep diving into the C programming, where you can actually understand, as Adam said, what is happening under the hood. And this is something major where you absolutely need to understand all of it to understand different languages afterwards. We will have a couple projects along the way. So we'll have 2 projects during the first sprint where you will be paired up with some random guy in your cohort. And you will have to actually build something. And the last one will be the major project, as is written below, build a simple shell. And that's one of the most challenging project there is, but it's also a great learning aspect of the first sprint. The second sprint will talk about the Python and web development. And on parallel of this, of learning Python, you will create a Airbnb clone, where you will just have to clone your own Airbnb, put it in your in your way and making something that you are really excited about. And basically, you will create a full stack project along learning Python. And the final sprint will be more dedicated to creating your final project, your portfolio project, which will be a much larger project, and you will have all the choices, all the liberty that you want to decide what you want to do on this project. And this is what is so cool because you can actually decide to, I don't know, start building your startup right away. And yeah, so we will keep learning also Python and some different skills, just like JavaScript, TypeScript, NoSQL, and Node.js. So at the end of those 3 sprints, you will learn maybe three languages. So C, Python, JavaScript, and of course HTML, CSS for the web design, and also TypeScript at the end. So more than three. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, so basically the value here is you're working on real projects, and when an employer is looking to hire you, you need to be able to showcase your portfolio. Things have changed from the perspective of an employer where they're no longer just looking for, okay, I've got a bachelor's degree from Melbourne University. Now that doesn't mean anything anymore. You have to show what you've built and how you've built it, right? So what we've got here is 3 key projects. So that first project of the simple shell, the second project of this Airbnb clone. What people have done in the past with this Airbnb clone, and we saw it recently, was people have created like a Barbie house for Airbnb. So this allows you to start putting your creative twist and show your personality through a project. Because when people are hiring you, they're not just hiring you for the tech, they're hiring you for you. So you need to show your personality and your creativity in the way that you do things. And the final one is what we'll talk about in a sec, is this portfolio project that, yes, one, you build, but also you have to present. And that's what is our demo day. And this is the end of the Holberton journey. And many of you may have joined us for our demo day that we had a month ago now at Seek. And there's a photo of all of our graduates just up here in the top right. So this demo day is how we conclude the studies for Holberton. So as Thomas said, you ideate, design, build a portfolio product from scratch. This is completely up to you. This could be a startup if you wish. If you're with the right amount of people, you guys could build something, you could take this to market, and you could scale this to be your own business. For most of our students, though, this is a chance for them to build something to then sell themselves to get employed. As you can see here is 4 career changes that you can see they've actually dressed up in what their previous career was. So you've got Jacob, that was a real estate agent. Martha, that was a mum during this period. Maxine, that was a nurse, and David, that was a chippy. These guys, this portfolio project was a chance for them to sell themselves. By selling themselves, they're actually showing how they built that product. So as you guys could imagine, the traditional techie may struggle to talk in front of 150, 200 people. But what we're selling here is the non-technical skills that you guys have from your previous careers, whether that is in teaching, whether that is in accounting, whether that you're a police officer. It doesn't matter. We want to showcase everything that you've got from your experience, if it's being in another country, being a mother. It is what we want to sell, because you can be yourself and you can go through and you can be a part of the 1,000 applicants that apply for every single job ad, or you can sell your story. And that's what we're trying to do with a lot of these programs, is selling your story. So we've had these demo days this year at REA Group in Cremorne, Canva, and Seek most recently. And it is really a great way to capstone your studies. And it is an asset that you do have for the rest of your life. And like Thomas said, if you want to be an entrepreneur, be an entrepreneur. Let's turn this into something and build it from there. Here's an example. And look, all these guys, like I said, never coded anything before. And, you can see this little app on the side on the right. And honestly, we have like senior engineers from Seek, from Canva, from REA Group come in and be blown away by what these guys have built, considering that these guys had never written a line of code before. These guys, many of them are still working while they're studying, and many or all of them are only doing it within like a 6 to 9 week period, and they're building a full stack product from scratch. So the quality of this is really what is selling yourself at the end. And when you guys are looking for jobs and you're sitting through your interviews, this is what you're going to be showing to the interviewer. This is what I've built. This is how I built it. This was the thoughts that I had throughout. And yeah, this is going to be how you sell yourself. Just a little look at what the actual platform looks like. So when you're going through Holberton, this is what you're going to see every single day. So this is the dashboard. Basically, you can see your current project here. You go through your levels as you continue. You kind of go out on that triangle there. You've got upcoming events here. You've got the project you're up to here. You've got some concepts you have here. And then as you go into a project, you can see you've got all the resources that you have in the projects, the learning objectives, the general requirements. And as you progress, you can see how the tasks work. So everything is done through a checker. You input your code, which gets pushed to GitHub. This then provides you automatic feedback, which basically directs you on what you have done correct and what you have done incorrectly. You obviously have Thomas there for any issues that you can't figure out why you haven't got it right. But having that immediate feedback allows you to kind of work in your own pace. Some of the results, like I said, we've been running for some time, so we've had a fair bit of success, and everyone really, in the most part, is coming from a different background. You can see real estate to NAB, dental nurse, paralegal, chippy, accountant, chemist. So here's just a few examples of some success stories. But we've got some real buy-in now from the industry, where companies are asking us to bring them talent, which is fantastic because we want to not just be an educator, we want to be an organization that helps people get jobs. Because what's the point of education if it doesn't lead to you getting a job at the end? That's just my opinion. All right, so now that's enough of me. I'm sure many of you, when you hear me talk, you'll be like, all right, Adam, you might be just a good salesperson, which some people say I am. But I want you to hear from Carol. So is Carol here? I hope so.
Yes, I'm here.
Yes,
Hi.
fantastic. So Carol was one of our students that graduated November last year. Is that correct, Carol?
That's correct, yes.
Where are you? I can't see. Are you?
Probably on page 8 or so.
There we go. There we go. Yeah, so Carol was one of our students that graduated November last year, and Carol is now working as a developer at IAG. And here you can see is Carol's demo day with her peers that she graduated with. Carol, I've got a few questions for you. But just because we were talking about the demo day, tell us about your demo day. What was the experience like for you?
We had a really good experience. So we built an app called Share Circle, which is a neighborhood sharing app. And we were able to showcase it on the demo day. And we got good feedback. And yeah, it was a good day.
And Carol, what was it like for you talking in front of, I don't know, what was there, 100, 150 people at that event?
I was a little bit nervous, but actually it's fine. I don't know, because we're not 18 anymore, right? And you probably at some point in your career had to stand in front of people and talk through something or talk on at a meeting. So it was actually fine.
All right, amazing. All right, so that was your demo day, Carol. Let's go back to the very beginning. So there's two interesting things about you. One, you've come from Switzerland to Australia, and two, you've made a career change. So you've got two chips on your shoulder, and then you've gone through a program like this and you've come out and succeeding. So for someone that's come from another country into Australia, what was that like for you, making this decision?
So when I moved to Australia, I was really up to a change. And when I started working here in Australia, I went back into my old job. I was working as an admin assistant. I was just really tired of it. And then I found Holberton and then I just went through with it because I thought, what do I have to lose? As long as you speak English, it's fine.
And that whole career change process for you, why tech? When you were thinking about doing something different, why tech? And what were some of the transferable skills that you saw from your previous career?
Yeah. So why tech? Because at the job that I had back then, I only liked one specific kind of work, which was working with Excel sheets, which somehow brought me to coding. I just thought if I like the analytical style of this work, is there some kind of work that like is similar? Could I do something and use my brain more? And that was the reason why I wanted to go into tech. I was looking for a challenging role. I wanted a role where I can grow and not just for a short amount of time. I mean, you have endless opportunities if you're going into tech, right? I mean, if I'm fed up with, I'm in full stack now, mostly front end. But if I'm stuck of if I don't want to do it anymore, I can just move into back end. I could go to cloud. I could go into analytics. You just have to learn the skills and show that you can do it, and then I think it's easy to switch. And transferable skills, I would say definitely analytical thinking and communication. My communication is a lot better than other engineers that went the normal pathway through university.
Yeah, 100%. And that's one of the big selling points is, someone that's a dental nurse knows how to talk to someone a lot better than the traditional coder that's come out of university. And, like you said yourself and your background, that's really helped you kind of propel. Holberton itself, Carol, and I spoke before about the people. So I want to hear from both sides. Your experience at Holberton, what was it like learning the tech and what was it like studying with the people that you were involved with?
So Holberton was really, really difficult for me, especially the first 3 months, because I had zero coding background. I did a little bit of HTML and a little bit of CSS, but I've never coded anything before starting with Holberton. So that was difficult. I would also say because we were, so I saw that Holberton was founded in 2022, right? And I did it in 2024. So our cohort wasn't the biggest cohort. But that means we didn't really collaborate much at the beginning. But that is like my biggest tip that I'm giving to people that are starting now. Just start collaborating early, and it will be so much easier to get through Holberton.
And these people here, Carol, so, we've got Nicole, Kieran, Kang. I know you guys became pretty close towards the end. And obviously, if I found you four on the street, I wouldn't imagine if you guys become best friends. But talk us through, I guess, working with unique people like that.
Yeah, it's amazing because everyone just brings special skills and can contribute to the tasks and projects. For example, Kieran, he's an astro. He has a doc. What is he? Has a
PhD.
PhD in astrophysics. Yeah, I don't think I would have ever talked to that guy if it wasn't for Holberton. But we just became very close because we both were on campus, and he helped me. He helped me a lot with this analytical thinking and thinking through the coding steps. So yeah, I became very close with all of them.
And now that you're working at IAG, so you've gone from someone literally 2 years ago now, you'd never written a line of code, or even a year and a half ago, never written a line of code, and now you've entered IAG and you've had a promotion at IAG. Is that correct? So talk us through what it's been like now that you're working in the industry.
Yeah, so I was lucky and I got an internship first at IAG straight away. So I finished that day I finished Holberton, I signed my contract. So I immediately started working there. And I have to say, now that I've been there for a year, that it was still tough because there's still so much you have to learn and you can just not take it easy because people that go through university they are learning that kind of stuff for 3 years, right? And we have only been doing it for 9 months, and then going into a job you just have to keep at it. You have to continue learning and keep growing, and you have to be resilient and show them that you really want to be there and that you really want this career switch. And that's also why I then got promoted to junior developer.
And you can see there's 84 people in this call now, Carol. And 1.5 years ago, you were on this call as well. So when you were on this call and you were listening to me yabber on like I'm yabbering now, what were you thinking? And now that you've had this whole experience, what advice would you give to have to people if they have any concerns that you may have had when you were looking at it?
I always think because it's only 9 months, right? What are 9 months? If you're bored in your job and if you want to do something else, what do you have to lose if you do it? I mean, the only thing you might lose is a little bit of money, but you can only win from this experience because you learn new things and it might bring you to another path. And yeah, it was just a good experience.
Well, Carol, I'll make sure I send you the check after this now. So thank you for all the kind words.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I'm just joking. We'll open it up to a Q&A. If anyone's got questions for Carol, which I'm sure many people Will. And Carol is a massive LinkedIn fanatic, so feel free to connect with Carol on LinkedIn. You can see her name on the screen there, so she'd love to get a good 83 extra connections, I'm sure. But what we're going to quickly do is just touch on the application process, because obviously you guys are all thinking about this. So now it's how do you get yourself started? And Thomas, I'm going to pass over to you again to talk about the assessment before you can join Holberton.
Yes, so you have five quick exercises that you have to do. So we also, of course, will keep in mind that some of you never have touched any terminal in your line of code, so don't stress about it. The first part will be about just a simple quiz, just to know about your get to know your knowledge on tech overall. The second one will be the shell navigation exercise, where you will actually maybe for the first time touch a terminal, and it's not very complicated. The tasks are very well explained. It will get you through the task by just following the instructions, and you will get a feel of what it is like to actually complete the tasks once you're on Holberton. Then you will build your first HTML page and render it by adding some styles with the CSS of the fourth project. And the last one will just add some functionalities by adding some JavaScript into that. So, of course, we keep in mind that you have never touched a line of code, and it's just to get to get to know how easy it is for you to do such a thing. And yeah, we'll look at that once you submit all your work. Of course, or also if you cannot solve one question within the task, then you can skip this task, and we won't take this into account.
Perfect.
I don't think I have anything to add, Adam.
Perfect. The value of this is anyone can say they want to be, a software engineer, but what we're asking you here is to prove it. Because we're a small cohort, and Carol said before, it's a small group of people. We want to make sure that everyone is fully aligned and on that same mission, because you're only as good as your worst player in the most part. And if someone is not motivated and doing this for the wrong reason, then it's going to bring everyone down. So we want everyone to come into this program with the same mission, to make a career change and to get into tech. If people have, the technical skills and are leveraging us as a job platform, that is not the right idea for this school. We want to be able to train you, and we want to be able to bring you up, and then want to be able to help you get a job at the end. If you've already got the tech skills, then you would be able to get a job yourself if you kind of looked at other ways of looking at this. But yeah, what we want is people that are genuinely here for the right reason. So I can see some questions in the chat, and I think Heidi's been helping out and answering a few of them, but I've seen one that's got a few thumbs up. So I'll answer this one first, which is, what is the percentage of graduates that land jobs within 3 months, within 6 months of completion? So like Carol said, Carol landed it on the day she finished, which is fantastic. I think it's around 90% find jobs within 6 months, and this is 90% of people that are looking for jobs. Sometimes people just aren't looking for jobs, and there's nothing you can do. And we do our best to help absolutely everyone get a job. So yes, that would be about the numbers. Is a student want to take an entrepreneurial route? What mentoring is actually provided? If you want to take an entrepreneurial route, I will personally find you someone in the industry that is in the right space to help you on that entrepreneurial journey. I'll give you an example. One of our students, his name was Lockie Duncan. He's got this little startup called Pocket Advisor. And one of my issues, I get far too involved in people's little initiatives because I like the entrepreneurial side of things myself. I went and I spoke with government about Lockie's idea. I connected with this group called Equity Mates, which is the biggest media outlet for financial advice. I connected with the CTO of Iris, which is a global finance company, he's now the advisor on Lockie's app. So if anyone wants to take an entrepreneurial pursuit, you have my word that I will do everything I can to get you in touch with the right people. So I can definitely help you with that. And can the portfolio project be a real product MVP? 100%. You can build whatever you want. Just make sure that if you want to build it and the team members that you're building it with, you have some type of contract in place, because there's IP issues if people do work for you. So, you just handle the contractual obligations. And do you have mentors in the startup or product shipping experience space? If you have someone specifically or a certain type of person you'd like to be mentored from, we can do our best to find them. The students meet the mentors monthly. We do try and get them in the same city so they can meet in person, but it's a 1 hour per month catch up. And if anyone has any questions as well, feel free to just come off mute or raise your hand using the Teams raise hand, which is right next to the people at the top. And yeah, obviously Carol is here, so it's a great chance to ask Carol questions about her journey, about what she's doing now, about her experiences and what she did to kind of succeed. So is there any, I haven't really had a look, Heidi or Joe or Thomas, is there any questions that you think are specific to, or good questions to ask for where we're at?
Not sure.
But yeah, anyone, if, like I said, with Carol here, feel free to just pop something in the comments if you've got a specific question for Carol, or just come off mute.
We have a question from Sunil. He's based in Hobart, and he's asking if there's any required physical attendance.
So we do encourage those people in Melbourne to be here physically. If you're not in Melbourne, you can't really change that. But it can be fully done remote. We use all the industry standard tools, Slack, Miro, all the collaborative tools. So it can be done fully remote. So being in Hobart is not an issue.
Thank you.
Blake?
Hi, g'day. So I had a quick question. I attended the demo day and I saw a lot of React applications and web development. Is there sort of space within Holberton to do low-level programming, whether it's sort of microchips and onboard, that kind of thing, or similar?
Yes, so the React in the portfolio project is a decision made by the students. So that final portfolio project, you can use whatever technologies you wish. And for many of them, like Carol, they're teaching themselves new things that they didn't learn through the program, which is really the pedagogy of Holberton, is learning how to learn. And yes, you learn the three plus languages that Thomas was talking about before. But Blake, if you're interested in that, you can spend your last 3 months diving deep into that with the peers that you've got. So no, there's nothing stopping you from going into something low level.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Me, can I ask?
Yeah, go for it.
Actually, I found this opportunity when I searched on Seek as job opportunity. Is there any payment when we study in Holberton school? If so, how much? Also, there is parental leave pay for me since my wife will be delivered when I am study. How can I make parental leave pay from Centrelink? Because at that moment, I can stop working if there is parental leave pay. That's my question. Thank you very much.
So I think Adam's just left. Someone's wrong with his network. But can you hear me okay, Simon? Yeah. So in regards to the payments through the opportunity you've applied for, that is left up with that company. So you've applied for the Transit Tech. So we'll find out those results early January. So for the other scholarship, which is the telco company, I'll be reaching out to you guys over the next 3 days with your results.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Any other questions?
Carol, a few people have been asking about the working balance while studying Holberton. Would you like to give a bit of personal insight into that specifically?
Yes.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
See.
So I did Holberton full time because they recommend to do it full time because it's really a commitment. You have to learn a lot during this time. And I was also very happy that I did it full time. But I know that that's not possible for everyone. And most of my peers were working from 1 to 2 to even 4 or 5 days, which I wouldn't recommend, even like working 4 or 5 days. It's a lot, but somehow they got it done. So it just depends on how much you can learn, how much you can keep up with the projects, and yeah, or if you need more time to study. We also had a few people in the cohort that dropped out at the beginning because they just couldn't work full time and do Holberton.
Great. Thanks for that, Carol. And I know you've touched on it a little bit, but would you like to talk a bit about your personal mentoring experience?
My mentor was from NAP, and I met with her on a monthly basis, and it was quite good to talk to her. Unfortunately, she was not in software, she was more in hardware, but still she was able to give me good insights and also just lift up my spirits. Sometimes you just need someone that talks you through a difficult time, which she definitely did.
Great. That's great. And did you find it helpful to have someone already working in the industry to bounce like what you were learning in Holberton off?
Yes, she definitely gave me some good advice, and I always felt that I could ask her any questions I had. So I learned quite some things from her. Also, I started asking her about interview questions, what I should know, how I should prepare for interviews, and she gave me some good advice.
Great. No, that's great to hear. And that's exactly what we try to aim to do with pairing our students up with industry mentors, because it's one thing to learn from your peers and learn a whole new curriculum, but it's great when you've got someone who's already working in the industry who actually implements the code that you're learning and bounce your ideas and queries off them. And Carol, what would you say was the biggest, I guess, learning curve that you took from Holberton and going from Holberton into industry work within the tech industry?
So the learning curve at Holberton is very steep, but when you actually start working, you realize you just learn the basics of everything. I still found that I was better prepared than some of my grad peers, or not grad peers, but some of the people that went through boot camps, because they didn't have much experience with backend, whereas at Holberton you also do a lot of backend. So that prepared me well. And then the full year I was working now, learning curve was still very steep.
All right, I'm back. I'm sorry I cut out. Thank God we've got the wonderful Heidi and Carol here, but I didn't die, so it is all good. Rahul, I can see you've got a question, my friend. Feel free to come off mute or type,
Yeah,
whatever
how are
you
you,
prefer.
Mike?
Good, good. How can we help?
I've got a question for Carol. As she said, she's coming from the admin background before she came into the Holberton School. How easy or hard was for her to adapt into the coding, to be able to learn the C, C Sharp, or JavaScript, coming into the admin background? And how would how she would rate for someone who's not coming in from the same background? Would it be easy for them to learn what we are learning here at Hobbiton? And second thing, I've got a question for you. What will be the timings if we have to come in person at the Melbourne CBD for the classes?
Yep. Carol, do you want to answer? I guess you can answer both of them as far as how much you came in as well.
Thanks.
So I'm gonna answer the first question. Learning how to code is not easy, but it's doable by everyone. But you have to be resilient and persistent. I just started again, actually. I code almost every evening after work for 30 minutes to an hour just to get my skills up. And yeah, you have to be persistent, and that's all it needs. I'm not good at math. I would not say that I'm good at math, and I always struggled with that because I thought, oh, I won't understand the code, I won't understand the logic. But coding is actually just pattern recognition and doing things over and over, and then you get used to seeing the same things over and over. It's like learning a language. You have to be resistant, and then you can come from any background.
And then to answer your second question, Raul, as far as coming in, we have every Wednesday or Thursday what we call a peer learning day. What this is when our students come in and collaborate on their projects that they've had for that week. So these 1 day a week where we encourage our students to come in person, obviously based in Hobart or somewhere else in Australia, you can't be there, and we do that whiteboarding via Miro. But we do encourage you, if you are in Melbourne, to come in at least one a week, ideally on that peer learning day, because that's when you're going to be around other people. If you prefer to work from somewhere that is not your house, come 5 days a week. Fantastic. Hang out with us. And it means you get all the time access to Thomas, so you can just tap on his shoulder rather than send him a message. So
Yeah.
the more, the better, but at least once a week.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Thanks for that.
No worries. Any other questions? Sorry, I haven't been looking at the chat. Looks like Joe's answering some people.
I got a question.
Yeah, go for it.
So I was just wondering about like the fees relative to this course.
Yep. Yeah, so the fees are relevant to the amount of corporate opportunity that we have. So we're very lucky, and I showed some of the scholarship companies that we have, that we have organizations that provide us with scholarships and sponsorship. This allows us to reduce the tuition for people coming through our program. So we won't actually know what the total fee is going to be until we get all of our corporate fund, which allows us to subsidize the tuition. So yeah, depending on how much support we could get, some people have free education, some people pay, a half of the education, some people pay a little bit more. So as we get to that point nearing towards February, Joe will be able to work with you closely on what that looks like. But yeah, we do have a lot of support from corporates that help us make it accessible for everyone.
What about like what's like the maximum, like without any kind of like support?
Since we started, I don't think anyone has had to pay the maximum of our program. So the maximum that we put is, like, I'll just say it's $17,000, but I don't think there's a single person that hasn't had any support from a company. So I wouldn't even put that number in your head, because no one has had no support from organizations. But yeah.
Okay, so I can look around maybe like 50% or probably less.
I mean, I don't know off the top of my head. It really depends on how much support we get. But yeah, you know what? For an estimate, that's probably not a bad estimate. But yeah, it depends how much support we get from organizations.
Okay, thank you.
No worries. I can see a few more hands up. Charlene, I see you've got your hand up.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, does this qualify for like HEX as well? Like, can we apply for HEX for this as well?
Yes, I wish we could help you apply for HEX. In order to apply for HEX, you have to become a registered training organization, and we looked at doing this back in 2021. This meant we would have to somewhat bastardize our course, put OH&S training, and actually extend the program to meet the requirements of what it looks like to be an RTO. So unfortunately, you can't HEX this program. What we have is some great relationships with some partners, which help us with payment flexibility, which allows us to pay, work on some, very flexible payment plans for people on different means and wants. So there's flexibility there, but unfortunately, no, there's no HEX. Any other questions, Blake? Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. I suppose this would be a question for both Adam and for Carol from a different perspective. At Holberton, what would you have to do to stand out from the average people and really sort of show off what you're capable of to be, I suppose, in a better position coming out of it?
Carol, it'd be interesting, Carol, to get your perspective, because yes, you were one, but now you've seen students and you were at the demo day and you've seen people that might, have impressed you more than others. So what's your perspective?
So to land a job in the end, I would still say you have to be lucky sometimes, but also you can work for a few things, right? So for example, your background just has to align with what someone is looking for. That what you were talking about these transferable skills. And project-wise, what stood out to me is, of course, something that interests me, which is the gym. So this fitness app, I love that. That was really cool. So if you build something that stands out to one of the employers, I mean, if you want to work for a bank, maybe build some bank app you can leverage then.
Yeah. So yeah, it really depends what you want to stand out in. I'm a massive advocate for LinkedIn. LinkedIn is the best way that you can make noise and really sell your personal brand. So if you want to stand out, document your story, be loud, and bring people along with you. So other people can understand what your story is, because not only does it showcase what you're doing, shows people that you're very passionate about it, and then you actually want to make it happen. So I would be very active on LinkedIn. But like Carol said, if you want to work for a banking company, build a banking app. If you want to work for a sports tech company, build a sports tech app, because you only need to stand out to the people that you need to stand out to. You don't need to stand out to everyone.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate the answer from both of you.
No worries. Any other questions? Feel free to come off mute. We've been here for an hour, so we will wrap it up. But yeah, happy to open it up to one or two more questions if anyone's got a question for Carol. No? Okay. Well, thank you everyone for your time, and thank you so much, Carol, for sharing your insights and giving back to us. And yeah, I'll slip you the little envelope in the back pocket. I'm joking. But no, thanks everyone for giving us an hour on your Tuesday afternoon on a sunny night. And yeah, if you've got any more questions, feel free to reach out to myself, Joe, Heidi, Thomas, and if feel free to connect with Carol on LinkedIn. And same thing goes for myself, Thomas, and Heidi. Feel free to connect with us on LinkedIn if you do have any more questions and want to touch base with us. Between now and February, we're all happy to catch up. But in the meantime, yeah, fingers crossed we can find an opportunity for everyone, because that's the goal for us, is to help people like you guys make this transition into tech careers. So hopefully we can make it work. But yeah, other than that, thank you so much for your time, and we'll touch base early next year.
Thanks, Adam.
You.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Carol.
Adam. Thank you,
you.
Carol.
Thank you, guys. Bye.
Thank you, Thomas.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you so much.